My final tip for you is a technique called Be the Teacher. How many times have you tried to help a friend who is struggling with their work, but you've been unable to help them, even though you could complete the task easily? To teach someone how to do something, you have to break it down into simple, easy to understand chunks. Think about a practical task that you do all the time, such as walking up the stairs or putting on a jumper. Take a minute to consider how you would break this task down into step-by-step instructions for someone who had never done it before. It's actually far harder than it sounds. However, when we break something down into its component parts, it can be easier for us to understand where we are going wrong or see how we can improve. Consider how a PE teacher demonstrates how to bowl a ball. The slightest adjustment to the positioning of the arm or the time that the ball is released can make a huge difference to the effectiveness of the bowl. For this technique, you will need a copy of the Be the Teacher planning sheet. You can find this as a PDF file attached to this video. Don't worry if you don't have a printer. You can always copy out the section headings onto a plain piece of paper or a revision card. The first thing you must consider when being the teacher is the outcome of your lesson. What do you want your students to learn? What will your students be able to do by the end of your lesson? In the box at the top of your planning sheet, write your lesson outcome. This could be something factual. For example, students will be able to identify fronted adverbials. Or it could be something more conceptual. For example, students will be able to explain why Hitler came to power in Germany in 1933. The next thing to consider is the common misconceptions or mistake that students make when studying this topic. What errors do you need to look out for? This could be anything from confusing one event with another, muddling up two key words, or forgetting a significant component. By identifying the mistakes that people commonly make, you'll be less likely to do this yourself in the future. The first part of your lesson should aim to connect the learning. Imagine that you are explaining this topic to a complete beginner, someone who has no previous knowledge at all. How would you introduce the topic? How would you link it to the topic studied previously or a concept that your students will already understand? What key points would you need to include? Using bullet points, add this information to your lesson plan. Now you should try to explain and elaborate. Add the key facts and then go back to add the supporting detail that will ensure your students fully understand this topic. In history, this could be the impact of key events. In English, this could be by considering the effect created by an author when using different techniques. In science, this could be describing an experiment that demonstrates a particular reaction or process. Once again, add bullet points to your lesson plan to show how you would add this level of supporting detail. Are there any particular questions you would ask your students at this point? If so, add these to your lesson plan and consider what type of answers you would want to hear. Now you should consolidate. How might your students use this information in the exam? Is there a specific problem or question that they could answer to test that they have fully grasped this concept? This question should link back to your lesson outcome. If your students can answer this question, then you can be sure that your lesson has been successful. You could even produce an exemplar, the perfect answer to the problem or question that you have posed to your students. Attached to this video, you will find an example of a completed lesson plan that you could use as a guide when completing your own. This is a more challenging way of revising, but it is incredibly effective. This is also a great way to revise with your friends, as you can prepare your own lessons to teach to each other. This will also help you to see how effective your lesson plan really was.